All right. We are live. Good morning. I'm going to set up my other
Good
microphone.
morning.
I clicked live, and then I realized I'm not on my correct microphone. Ah, what are we talking about today, Coach Andrew?
Today we're talking about how to get some new habits going first thing in the morning, just basically like where to start and what some steps be to be successful in really any habit, but specifically what to do maybe first thing in the morning, maybe on a non-working day, or when your work day doesn't start till later in the day. How can we really get the day to be like the most effective towards more optimal health, more optimal wellness? And so we have steps that we're going to share and some ideas around the rule of 30. So I like to
Rule of
present today.
30. That's exciting. I hadn't heard the rule of 30 before, so this is actually the first time I'm going to be, well, second time because we talked about it shortly before we went live.
Sure.
but uh, but yeah, we have four steps forward as well. Yeah, the main outcome really, we want you guys to be able to leave here with your perfect morning routine. And we're not here to tell you this is the perfect morning routine. Because at the end of the day, if you really want to create something that's sustainable, it has to be personalized to you. But listen in, try to get some ideas, and apply them, the ones that you like. And the ones that don't fit you, you can discard them. But let's start it off. So we got this broken down into four steps, right? PPEE. What is step number one to creating a perfect morning routine?
So it might be helpful to identify like what are we trying to accomplish like in that morning
Fair.
routine. So like with that rule of 30, so with that rule of 30, we're trying to address three main things that we know is going to help us be successful at establishing a better health, better fitness within our body. So like we're going to address hydration, we're going to address the nutrition by getting some protein in, and then also address some activity. So physical activity, physical exercise. So those three things we're going to try to get in within ideally the first 30 minutes of waking up. So that's the first kind of idea is within 30 minutes of waking up, we're starting to work on 30 grams of protein, 30 ounces of water, and 30 minutes of activity. So that's where the 30 rule of 30 comes in. Just to make it really simple is
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
can get these thirty things in within 30 minutes. So if
Interesting.
that's what we're working towards, the plan. So planning out the week.
That's
Okay,
number
when am
one.
I working? That's number one. That's step one. What's the plan basically for the week? When are you going to block out time for these 30-minute, 30 grams, 30 ounces? What's the plan for that? And so is it blocking out time in your schedule? Is it planning ahead to make sure you got your water glasses, the dishes are done, so to speak? Do you have your protein powder? Do you have Greek yogurt, cottage cheese? Like, how are you going to get that 30 grams of protein? Because we all do it differently, right? It's like some people don't like eating food first thing in the morning, which is,
Yes.
I'm one of those people. So I'll do a protein shake, really quickly. So planning ahead, do I have all those things dialed into my schedule? And so that's the first thing, because we're not going to wake up at like 5 in the morning and just magically do all these
Yeah,
things
that
that
ain't
need
gonna
to get
happen.
done. It ain't
Yeah.
going to happen, right?
Yeah,
Especially if
yeah.
it's like, if it's freezing outside, it's cold, toes are cold, you're not going to just pop out of bed without
Right.
a plan. And it's not fair to expect anyone just to rise up out of bed without that plan in place. So that's step one. We need the plan. So that means how many days a week are we doing this? Is it
Right.
every day? Is
How
it
many days
most
a week?
days? What time are we doing it? So appreciate the thumbs up.
Yeah,
Little
I'm
emoji
counting actually,
there.
but I like it.
Okay, so the days of the week, the time that we're going to do this, and then
Yeah. Yes.
what kind of protein are we going to get? How are we going to get that water into our system? Do we have a water bottle by us? Do we need to go get water bottles? Do we need to have that ready? What's the plan? So that's step one.
Awesome. Yeah. So step one's theory. So it's like, all in our head. It's still in our head. Nothing physical yet, but it's
Mhm.
planning.
But
When things are going to happen. There was that study a while back talking about how, long story short, a bunch of people wanting to change their body, start exercising. They put three different camps. Camp number one, they have them live through a motivational tape, and then go do it. They didn't do much
mhm,
of anything. The second people, they were the control group. They said, hey, go exercise. Obviously, that didn't work that well. The last group, all they did was decide, kind of what Coach Andrew is saying. They planned when they were going to execute on their thing, on
mhm,
their exercise. What time of the day, what days of the week, and they had the most significant adherence or sticking to it than any other group. So I love that. I mean, that can't be
Yeah.
understated, you know?
It's essential. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it has to be personalized to you, right? Because again, we can come on here and say, well, yes, scientifically, it's actually the best thing to do Monday morning or Wednesday morning or Friday morning. But honestly, we don't know what's going on in your life. So for you, Monday might be the absolute worst day of the week because that's the day that you are hammered with stress coming out of your weekend. Or it might be the best day. So you have to decide for you, where does it fit the most? Where are you going to have the highest likely adherence? That's where you put it. I love it. Cool. So step one, prepare. Or sorry, step one, plan.
No, plan.
I'm giving it away.
Step two is prepare. Okay, so we have the plan. We blocked out the time. We blocked out the days. We planned out what we're going to get for our protein. We planned out our activities. So we have this awesome plan. Now we got to prepare for it, which again, I think is an underrated piece of the puzzle that some people don't do. So they have this awesome plan. They have the best of intentions, but I don't have my workout clothes ready to go. Or I don't have my water next to me on my nightstand. I don't have my protein powder ready to shake. I'm going to have to spend 5 minutes getting it out of the pantry and then scooping it out and putting it in the blender cup. So let's prepare ahead of time so we can execute this plan as successfully as possible by preparing whatever needs to be prepared. If it's letting people know in our home, hey, from 5:30 to 6, I'm taking care of me, then that's part of that preparation of letting people know, like, I'm not going to be available during this time, or I'm going to be out through the neighborhood going for a walk. Something that's part of that preparation, getting our clothes ready, our shoes ready. If we need to go drive to the gym to go swimming for that activity, do we have enough gas in the car? Is that ready to go? Like, not allowing resistance to get in our way to where we're not going to keep doing this over and over.
Yeah.
And so we got to prepare ourselves. Because again, it's not fair just to expect someone to pop out of bed and magically everything is just ready to go.
Right.
Because I have heard from time to time, like, Andrew, I'm not able to get it done.
Yeah.
And when we dig into it, it's because I don't have my shoes out ready to go. I don't have my workout clothes laid out for me, the night ahead of time. I don't have my protein powder ready, or it's expired, and now what do I do? So it's preparing yourself again to be successful, to execute that plan, and it's going to take again some time, and that should be part of the planning. Is the prep. So preparing the water the night before, preparing your type of protein that you're going to get, the night before, or like when you go shopping, making sure you have enough for the week. Your clothes, if you have only one set of workout clothes, which there was a time in my life that was my reality. So I got to make sure I wash that every day. Is that part of, like you mentioned earlier, your unique situation?
Yes.
So either we allow that to get in our way, or we prepare ourselves to take care of it. So that way we can be successful, not just once in a while, but every day that we have this planned for.
Yeah. Really well said. The only thing I would drive home is it doesn't feel, in theory, like it really makes that big of a difference. Laying out our clothes, or for me at least, laying out clothes, laying out a shaker cup. It's so easy. All I do is open the thing, take out the shaker cup, go grab the thing. But I'll tell you what, at 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. before you've had caffeine, it's major resistance,
Or it's like, if your wife is like mine, she is the lightest sleeper in the world. I mean, she can hear your thoughts. I mean, she's that light.
She wakes up and she hears you thinking. That's funny.
I mean,
that's
so like
funny.
the last thing I want to do is be in the kitchen rattling around, looking for a blender cup. I mean, everyone knows how loud and obnoxious those things are if there's nothing in them, right? Just that rattling sound.
Yeah.
And then I'm reaching up in the pantry and stuff like that. It's like, that's the last thing I want to do is disturb her if she's still sleeping, just to get, again, to take care of me. So again, it's removing that resistance. If I know ahead of time it's going to be uncomfortable, or it's going to be something I don't really want to do, why do that first thing in the morning?
Right.
Unless we can maybe prepare ourselves, or the environment we're in, to where we get this done. We get done quickly, and we're not like tinking around, and then 15, 20 minutes goes by, and now it's too late. Now I don't have time to go for my walk, or I don't have time to, get out my routine that I want to get out real quick in my garage or something like that. It's let's prepare. Let's get everything dialed in so we don't have that excuse to lean back on.
I love it. Yeah, I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, if you want to be able to win, you need to your point, it's like you need to prepare. What is it? Plan to win, prepare to win, and then expect to win. So it's kind of in the same vein. I'm curious if there's anyone out there that is assembling their morning routine right now. I'd love to hear it. Or if you have a great morning routine, let us know in the comments. Maybe someone will be able to take some of these ideas as well, because we're all trying to win together. And if you want more people to see this, of course, like this as well, and it'll show up to more people. All right, what do we got for number 3?
So we're kind of flirting around with it already. It's
we are.
The execution. It's the first E. So you mentioned PPEE. It's that first E. Execute, execute, execute. Go do it.
Yes.
It does not need to be perfect, but it does need to be done.
Yes.
So
well said. Well said.
So the 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up, like that to me is like, that should be like the one thing that you do no matter what, is get that protein into your body. Because I'm sure you've experienced this too, Ryan, with all of our clients that we have. Protein and getting enough protein sometimes is the most challenging thing to do. It's like, Andrew, I'm not hungry. Starting out, right? And it's like, and it's necessary to really develop that healthy muscle, which we know the more healthy, lean muscle we have, the more we're burning no matter what. And in my experience, it really feels like that it just takes so much time to get our bodies used to that. If you're not used to it, it takes time to teach your body to digest more and more protein. So let's get that in within waking up, just so we can get that metabolism rocking the way we want it to. So that's the number one thing. So for planning and preparing, that's the one thing that I would say has to happen no matter what, is let's get that protein into your system. So whether it's a protein shake, Greek yogurt with some fruit, or cottage cheese, or maybe some eggs, whatever, again, you prefer, let's get it. And let's try to get in within that 30 minutes. And then starting to drink 30 ounces of water. That'd be the second thing that we need to do. Let's get some water into our system. Now, 30 ounces, about a liter, it's a lot. And so I'm not asking people just to like
chug it down. I know,
chug it
all in one go. But
but let's start. So if it is like a glass of water, most glasses are about 8 ounces. So if that's on your nightstand, you just woke up within 30 minutes, go ahead and try to drink that. Again, to wake up your body and get your metabolism going. Now we got to get, really another 22 ounces. Right. Which potentially might get that in and around that workout that we're about to do. So we want to try to get in that 30 ounces of water. Within, again, with 30 minutes, we start within 30 minutes of waking up. And then the activity. So we got our workout stuff all ready to go. We pop it on, we get our shoes on. And then what's our activity? So if we're just, again, starting a new habit, I suggest the aerobic activity, knowing we're going to get strength training in hopefully at some point in the day to help, again, build that healthy muscle. But something else that we need to do is get our bodies used to tapping into that aerobic energy system that we have. And if we just teach it just to go into anaerobic, it's not going to work as effective when we have all that good, healthy muscle. If it doesn't know how to burn effectively with that aerobic system that we all have, we might be missing the boat. So go for a walk. If you have a treadmill, get on that treadmill, put it like on a 2 incline, and just walk for 30 minutes. If you have a bike, go for a bike ride for 30 minutes. If you want to go swimming for 30 minutes. But 30 minutes of a steady state of low to moderate intensity, you're going to feel awesome, because you're going to be using all that fuel, all that water that you're putting into your system. Your body's going to say, oh, we're going. It's time to go.
We're going.
And, here we are. And you're going to be on the rest of the day. Your metabolism, everything is just going to be at a higher state the rest of the day.
A couple of things with that too. Number one, with the water, talk about waking your body up. If there is anything that has regulated my digestion better, or nothing has regulated my digestion better than drinking water first thing in the morning. Fantastic, especially because if you're not eating a lot of protein right now and then you start eating more, it's different for your digestion. Water is going to help keep you regular and make you feel real good. Second thing, I get the question all the time, hey, how do I cut out sugar? I'm a sugar addict. How do I cut out wanting more food after dinner and all these questions around how do I stop myself. But if we just follow getting in protein as a starting point, so just like Coach Andrew said, 30 grams in the first 30 minutes, this will naturally just cut down your cravings and your wants for those extra calories significantly. So much to the point that I've had clients that have lost, I know Coach Andrew has too, all of our coaches, 10, 20, 30 pounds or more without even focusing on calories, without even focusing on reducing anything. Let's just get in the protein, and then it kind of happens as a natural result, and that's how sustainability really kicks. Before we go deeper, really quick, Charmaine also says, she was mentioning before, mentioning the sleeping, she said, ha 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 ha, a lot of ha-has. She said, such a light sleeper. She can hear your thoughts. I love that. She said, this is actually me. So she can identify.
I'm laughing because it's true. It's scary because it's true. But yeah.
Can anyone else out there identify? I mean, I've heard the opposite with husbands. Like, man, my husband, he could sleep through a robbery. I'm like, oh my God. Crazy. All right, cool. Anything else on execute there?
No, just that simple. Like, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's get to it.
Yep.
Like, again, it does not need to be perfect. It really is perfect. But the idea is the attempt and the consistency. If we're getting in protein and we start it earlier in the day, if we're starting that water intake and being really well hydrated, just like you illustrated, and if we're just getting our body active early in the day, if we're awake 12, 14, 16 hours of the day, and from the beginning, we're revving everything up. I mean, you can just imagine, like, if we're doing that consistently, how effective that's going to be for our body overall.
Definitely.
So go do it, get up, go do it. Yes. Like, it's got to be done.
Heck yeah. Catherine also says very helpful ideas. Catherine's curious what ideas have been helpful for you. She said, I need to work on my morning routine, especially since the morning has a lot of potential to set the mood for the rest of the day. Yes, I mean, talking about morning routine, there's this whole idea about priming. There's a quick story with this. Have you ever heard the story? I think it's Tony Robbins. He talks about the study that maybe Brown or Stanford University did about the 2 cups of coffee. Have you heard that one?
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Well, hold on. Let's all go together. So long story short, they took, I believe it was on Stanford campus, they had a person go around who was an actor, and he had a clipboard, and he said, hey, would you mind, I'm doing this in reverse order. They had an actor go up to people and just, with a cup of coffee, said, hey, do you mind holding these for a second? I got to tie my shoe. And the people who responded and said yes held the coffee. Sometimes the coffee was hot, and sometimes the coffee was cold to different people. About 20 minutes later, a second person comes up, another actor, and says, hey, I'll give you $20 if you let me read you the short story and answer 3 questions. It won't take more than 5 minutes. And they go, fine. It's the same story. And they ask the questions, and they ask questions like, is the person in the story, and it's ambiguous, it could go either way. Was he, cold and, mean and kind of disgruntled, or was he warm and friendly and misunderstood, or whatever it is? And they went through these questions, and the people who were given 80% of the time warm coffee said that he was kind, misunderstood, so on and so forth. The people who were given the cold coffee said he was trying to be manipulative, he was a mean person, so on and so forth. Weird. And the results were something like 80% to 81%. So, and they did it across, like, I think 50 or so people. So whether or not it's conclusive, it's interesting. And that's to be said. The takeaway is that what we get as input the first 30 minutes of the day sets us up for the rest. So much so that I would even add to this rule of 30 minutes of input that empowers you. So for me, when I was 15 years old, I started this practice, and I've fallen out of it, right? Because, we fall out, we get back in. But as of recently, I've gotten back into it because I'm like, I miss that guy. I would listen on my Walkman CD player on the bus ride to school, being 15 years old, or 13 actually is when I started. But it was super consistent at 15. I'd listen to Zig Ziglar and his See You at the Top CD, and he would start off by saying, you are born to win. You are you are endowed with the seeds of greatness. Like you can, be anyone you want to be. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter where you are or who you are. You can change who you are. You can change where you are by changing what goes into your mind. So powerful, but so true. So I would say like, hey, look, first 30 minutes of the day, listen to empowering content, whether it's Andrew on repeat this podcast, right? Or, whether it's, we have some other resources for you that we'll share in a second. We're not affiliated with, but we personally like, so that you guys can do that because, man, if you want to change your results, it starts by changing your actions. If you want to change your actions, it starts by changing your thinking. If you want to change your thinking, well, you got to change your input. So people who want to, motivation doesn't happen once. You guys probably have heard this before, right? Motivation is not like you get a shot, it is a vaccine, and now you're good. Motivation is like bathing. I recommend it daily.
Attention and effort is sustained motivation. It's that simple. Attention and effort. So we all have that spark of motivation, which we expect something amazing to happen. We start a program like this and we have that spark of expectancy and, like we have this awesome, ambition with it, right? And that spark, I'm sure everyone has had that experience where
of course
it shifts into something else. And to sustain it, it's our attention and the effort we put into whatever the ambition was or is. How are we doing that? Which is just like we're talking about these steps. Are you planning? Are you giving the attention and effort to your planning? Are you giving attention and effort to how you prepare for the day or for the week for that matter? Are you giving attention and effort to doing any of this? Are you giving your best effort or are you just kind of going through the motions to say that you just did it, but it wasn't like your best effort?
Yes.
And then like that fourth step, which we haven't talked about yet, but that's that evaluate. Are we giving enough attention and effort to evaluate how we're doing? Because even though we're coaches and we're team client, 100%, whoever you are, team Catherine, team Charmaine, 100%. But we need to evaluate ourselves because we know I gave my best effort or I didn't. Or I was focused and I gave my best attention to this or I didn't. Yes. And we can just be honest. It's not to be critical, but it's just to be fair with ourselves. Like, I was really distracted. I was going to do 30 minutes of a walk. I had my shoes on, but then I got a call from work. Like, could I cover for someone that was sick?
Right.
That happens.
Yes.
But if we're evaluating and I was ready,
planned,
I was prepped, I was ready to go, like, that's cool. You gave it your best effort, but something came up. It's not going to come up all the time.
Yes.
We need to evaluate, consistently, how are we doing? Is it enough? Is it too much?
Right.
Just right? Does it feel good? Can I do this again?
Yeah.
What do I need to do again?
Anything? Right.
Do I need to change anything? Absolutely.
Yeah. I think
it's underrated habit
that
is not done enough, in my opinion, because it seems like we evaluate when things really go off the rails. It's like, this isn't working.
Oh, that's such a good reminder. They say when people prosper, they party. When they what's the other one? When they it's another P, but it's essentially when they're like miserable or when things are going bad, they ponder. So it's like, let's just keep pondering. Because that's how you're going to keep getting better. I pulled something up too that we'll touch upon, but Charmaine also says, the way I also get my water in, taking my vitamins one at a time, each one with a lot of water. It's funny. I am probably the worst vitamin taker ever, because I take in about, 6, 7, 8 a day, and I have to space them out. I used to do the handfuls, 4 at a time, but oh my God, I'm gagging. It's gross. I have to do one huge water, and then I come back in an hour or two. I literally have my pill like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like I'm 90 years old. I put that on my in front of my computer in another room, and then in my kitchen. It depends on where I'm going to be the majority of the day. And every time I walk by, I just pop another one. I don't know. Are you good at taking vitamins?
Me? Yeah,
Damn,
I think so.
you're a pro. You just pop them all
Yeah.
back at once.
Not like that. I
You
mean, I
don't
agree
even
with
need
you.
water, I heard.
I used to be able to do the handfuls, but then I had that experience where one gets stuck like the back
Oh,
of your
it's the
throat,
worst.
and
Yeah.
you're drinking water, you're just trying to get it to move, and it just feels like it's there all day. So I kind of got away from doing that, and I'll do like what you suggested of one or two at a time, and that's how I get most of my water in the morning and at night too. Like for my
Yeah.
magnesium and glutamine and some other things I do at night. Like yeah, it's just like a routine, right? It's just like
Yeah, easy peasy. I like it.
yeah.
Going off what you said too, like the most underrated piece of this 4-step process, right? Being PPEE, planning, prepare, execute, and evaluate. Right? I have the 4 steps pulled up to a breakthrough, and I think a lot of the times in coaching, a lot of us. I know that when I first got a coach, because I've had coaches over the years. When I first got a coach, I remember it was a business coach, and I went to him, and essentially I expected to be given the playbook. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, just tell me what to do.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, if you really want to master something, if you want mastery in something, there needs to be personalization. There needs to be adapting and learning, to your point. If we are really good at following directions, that's good. That's a good skill to have. But the problem with that is when your life changes, there's a chance that you no longer be able to execute on the plan, and you do not have the skills required or the attitudes. The skills or the attitudes required to be able to sustain your journey. And this is what happens with a lot of people. They can be successful as long as they're doing 75 hard. But then if they're not doing 75 hard because, oh my God, stress and all this, I can't do it, it's too much, well, they do nothing. We don't want to be binary where you're all in or all out. You want to learn how to master the gray area. If you can master the gray area, you can you can develop mastery around your physical body and never stop again. So adapting and learning is crucial, right? If you've never seen this before and it's your
Yeah.
first time, have you seen this before? Oh, sorry, you can't see it. Sorry, you
So
can't see it.
I
It's
have
not
the
pulled
I
up
have
for
the
you.
I have the
Yeah,
I
you've
have the
seen it.
Facebook page pulled up. I can see it. Yeah,
Oh,
I should.
okay. Sorry, I don't want to also steamroll you by just keep talking. What were you going to add? Sorry.
Well, I just to your point, everyone's journey is similar, but it's different,
Yeah, it
right? 'Cause
rhymes, but yeah.
but we all have something going on in our life. We all have important things. We all have different schedules. We have just different demands. And so the idea is like taking like this kind of template that we're describing of how are you planning, preparing, executing, and evaluating these 30, this law of 30 or rule of 30, whatever you might want to call it. Like, how are you applying it to your situation?
Yes.
Because everyone, again, does have a different situation, but that's not a reason not to do something of, oh, I don't have time for this, or I don't have the ability to do that. Like that is a limiting belief
Right.
that if you really feel like that's true, then you are creating another obstacle
Yes.
to get in your way. But
Yes.
this idea of rule of 30 is just, it's like a framework, and you apply the framework, whatever fits best for you. And if it's not within like, say that first 30 minutes of waking up, then when is it that you could do something like this?
Yes.
Maybe it's later in the day, but just if it's something like, well, to your point of Andrew, just tell me what to do, or Ryan, just tell me what to do. Okay, let's attempt this and really give it a chance and see how well it works for you. And then
I'm
make some
curious.
modifications as we adapt and learn with that
Yes.
evaluate piece.
Definitely. I'm curious if there's anyone out there too that, if there's any clients out there, or maybe they're not clients that, has any experience with this. Like, have you, if you're a client out there and you've been adopting this type of style, is it working better than maybe things in the past? Is it working worse? Be honest with us. We're just trying to have a conversation and get to the truth. We're truth seeking is what we're doing. I had another thought, but I think I lost it. So I guess we're just rolling with it. But yeah, I guess if you've never seen this 4 steps, like the majority of people that I've seen really break through, lose weight, sustain it forever, they follow these 4 steps, right? The first thing they do is, they create low pain, high pleasure results based actions. You don't necessarily need a coach to do any of these steps. All a coach does is just I like to think of it as compressing decades into days. So they help you get there faster because imagine like you're stepping through a minefield with a blindfold on, right? It would be really helpful if you had someone holding your hand going, don't step there. Right? And then you could get there way faster versus getting your leg blown off and then you have to restart. So with this in mind, a lot of people are used to going all in. They do high pain or moderate pain, high pleasure results-based actions, or moderate pain, moderate pleasure. And as a result, once the pleasure reduces because they get to their goal or just things get stale, the pain's still there and they stop. Because the most basic human truth is that we will always move towards pain or towards pleasure and away from pain. So every action you do has to be aligned with human nature in that way. Cool, you've done it. Now you go to step 2, where you achieve a positive feedback loop. If you do number 1 properly, you should start to feel pulled more than you ever have before towards these new fit activities. If you are not feeling pulled more than you have in the past, you're not executing step 1 correctly. Now, when I say you're not executing it correctly, it means the pain's not low enough and the pleasure isn't high enough for you specifically. Remember, why is Netflix easy to do? It's because it's low pain, high pleasure. You sit down, click a button, and you get flooded with variety and certainty and all this fun stuff. Exercise, if you go into it just like raw and you do high intensity interval training to a boot camp class that you've never been to and you throw up on your first day, high pain, and guess what? You don't see any drop in your pant size that day. High pain, no pleasure. You're not going back. So you want to be able to stack step 1 enough to where now you're starting to feel pulled towards these actions in step 2. And now if you're working with a coach, you're starting to ask them, hey, what else can I do? Now we're on to a positive feedback loop. And then we just go to step 3, which is adapt and learn. You have to adapt and learn for your life, your lifestyle. And here's the crazy thing. What you're doing today would probably be different than what you would do 6 months in the past or 6 months in the future. Why? Because your external circumstances are different. So we have to be able to adapt and learn in enough seasons. That's why we usually work with clients for a minimum of a year, even if it's not going to take a year for them to hit their goal. Why? Why would we do that? Why would we want somebody to work with us longer than it takes for them to hit their goal? Because we want them to be able to sustain it in every season of life and also every season of the weather. Because guess what? It might be a lot easier for you to get in shape during spring and summer and you're with your coach and then you hit your goal in fall and you're like, I win. And then winter comes and you're screwed because you never accounted for the fact that now you can't walk outside without getting your fingers and toes numb, and that's so much pain that you're not going to do it. So like these are all things to consider. But that was my ramble. Anything to add to that?
No, you got it.
I love it. Bridget says,
exclamation point.
Boom, baby. Bridget says, hey, watching while doing my morning routine. Hey, now we're talking. Love to see it. We also have Brenda says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Brenda. Good to see you here. Appreciate you guys being here. Feel free, if you want more people to see this, you can like it, comment. It shows it to more people in the group. Coach Andrew, I know we've talked about a lot today. A recap just being creating our morning routine, the perfect one for us. It's not about being told what to do. It's about taking the pieces that work best for us. We want to start by planning, which is the theory of it. We want to prepare. We want to, get essentially make as least resistance as possible towards accomplishing the goal or doing the action. We do the action, as you said, we execute. And then part 4 is we evaluate, which is adapt and learn. And then we go back to the beginning and we make the system better.
Yep.
If you think about it,
yep.
If you really want to be able to transform your body and sustain it forever, it comes down to the quality of our systems, which can segue really beautifully into some of the books that we recommend. So one of the books that both Andrew and I recommend heavily is Atomic Habits. A lot of what we do in this program is based on Atomic Habits. Now, if you don't want to read the book, that's fine. But he also has a podcast. His name's James Clear. He's got a newsletter. Great stuff there. Highly recommend. Anything you'd mention on Atomic Habits or any of the other books or resources that we're going to go through?
Well, I think just to the point you made earlier, like if it's 30 minutes of taking in something, empowering or informational,
Yes.
energizing, we want to give or show resources that we've had success with because we've had those kinds of experiences with them. Like, the book by James Clear, it's so informational, and I just think it's so easy to apply it, those concepts into your life. It's like, again, let's do something that's not incredibly difficult to dial in. Let's do it. And so, yeah, I just see so many people, once they accept or take on those concepts, run with it to develop those habits that they really need. I think that's the whole idea, is like, what habits do you need? Not just the hydration, the eating, but like, what are you taking in, like, for your mind, for your
Yeah.
soul, even.
There's this book too. Did you say you read The Miracle Morning? I can't remember.
It's been a while. It's a
Okay.
little foggy, but
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
read them.
Yeah, The Miracle Morning rings a bell for me. I don't remember a ton of stuff, but talking about the pieces it mentions as far as silence, affirmations, visualization, journaling, things of that nature. I know some people that they feel their best just getting up and going, kind of like we're talking about first 30 minutes of the day. It's like let's start taking this like action that makes you feel like you're moving forward. Other people I've seen, again, this is where the personalization comes in. They benefit a lot from going on their back porch and just being present for 15 minutes,
Yeah,
just sitting and just like
yeah.
real, because they're so fast normally through the day that it's like this is their opportunity to kind of feel grounded, to feel like, wait, I'm in control. I make my decisions. I am not a victim of my environment. And then start to create a target. Because sometimes when we're going, like, especially, right, being a nurse, being in the healthcare field, you're moving so quick for those 3 days that you're working. And if you're working 9 to 5, right, working so quick,
I'm like looking around because I'm like, it just cut out. I mean, it just went like, just where it's just me. It is right now, or not now, but that's what happened. Sure. Sounds good. It was weird though. It was like it was right at the top of the hour too. So I just wonder if it like